Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for October 13th. Let's take a look at the US Japanese yen pair. I'm expecting this pair to move between 102.49 and on the lower side 99.17. Now look for some resistance to come into this market a little bit higher at 103.00. As far as support, look for some support around the 175 range, which would be roughly right around here. Now this pair did close, gapped up on the open, closed up for the session. I believe this pair is just moving sideways for now. Bias, not sure. I would say to the downside, but that could be changing here soon. Let's take a look at the Euro USD pair. This particular pair closed as a doji bar today. I am expecting this pair to move between 137.20 and 134.06. Now, due to this doji bar, you could look for a break above the high and the low to either go long or short. After doji, there's definitely a higher. The odds are in the favor for a breakout. So. We could look for that to occur. Look for support at the 1.3500 level and resistance. Look for resistance at 136.50 for this particular pair. Switching over to the pound now, we have a pair that closed up, gapped up, moved lower, and then closed up for the session. I'm expecting this pair to move between 177.16 and on the lower side 167.79. Look for some resistance to come into the market around 174.40 and some support to come in around 173.00. Now let's take a look at the Swiss. This pair has pretty much just been moving sideways for the most part over the past several sessions. It did gap down on the open, but retraced and closed up for this previous or past session. I am expecting it to move between 114.79 and on the lower side 112.11. Now look for some resistance to come into the market around the 114 level and look for some support around the 11300 level. Let's take a look at the US Canadian real quick. This is something that I was looking at, wanted to show y'all. If you place go ahead and take your Fibonacci retracement levels. We had a beautiful run up and it went much higher and pulled back prior to the close. On Friday, we had this session today that moved lower. I do anticipate it moving lower as well. This level, this Fibonacci level at the 38.2% retracement is around the 114.30 level. So what I'm looking for is basically a break down of 113.75. When that occurs, I'm going to go short and look for 112.75, basically 100 pips, which roughly is right here, right within this range. I want to break. I know this is a pretty good distance between these two numbers, but I want to make sure that it is a true break to the downside and not just a bounce off of this retracement level. That's why I'm giving it some room. 100 pips is pretty good. I am going to place a stop loss at this level and in hopes that it won't retrace back above this because the 38.2% retracement is actually a little bit lower than the 1.1430. It's actually around the 1.1424 level. So a few pips above it. Basically, I'm risking 55 pips to hopefully make 100 pips. So that's kind of what I'm looking for this next session. Moving on to the news announcements for tomorrow. The pound has their CPI for September being released at 4:30 a.m. The consensus is that it has dropped from 0.3% to 0.6%, and that's on the that is for September. Now, year to date, it's gone up from 5.0%, from 4.7% up to 5%. Basically, if the CPI increases, inflation's increasing, and we could see that affect the pound negatively. You may want to make sure to check that out. If the news comes out worse than expected, the pound could go down against the dollar. Looking at the Japanese yen pair, we have the trade balance for August being released at 7:50 p.m. tomorrow. The consensus is that the trade balance has decreased from a positive 232.2 billion down to a negative 146 billion, which could be definitely negative for the yen. If the news comes out worse than expected, we could definitely see that affect the U.S. Japanese yen pair, especially since, if we'll take a quick look at it, we've been moving higher over the last couple of sessions, last 3 sessions. So if this news comes out worse than expected, we could definitely see it move higher, possibly up to this point, or even go further up, basically back up into this trading range that we previously had. So that's just some things to look at. That pretty much does it for today. Until tomorrow, good trading.